What if your ex thinks you've moved on? A lot of people ask me this. They even ask if this is a good strategy to try to convince your ex that you've moved on. And I want to talk about that because I have a lot of observations on this. And again, I'm not giving you theory or what I think sounds good or what I heard somebody else say. This is purely based on my observations, which I think is the best thing that I could give you because it's actual events and it's not just what I think sounds good. The first thing I want you to know is that it could go either way. It could impact your ex either way, meaning it could be a positive thing for you and that they could make some sort of aggressive effort to try to get back together with you or get your attention. Or they could actually decide that you have moved on and therefore it's pointless for them to try because they don't want to be rejected, because who wants that? Some people think people thrive on that and that makes them pursue more, but rejection usually just stifles people. They might try once more, but usually rejection just stifles people and makes them stop trying because it's like banging your head against a wall. And so what I'm telling you from that is that I've seen people try it, because a lot of times in a coaching session, which you can schedule with me at myexbackcoach.com, the link's in the description below if you want a session with me, but I have had people tell me, this is what I've done. Now, what do I need to do? And they'll tell me sometimes that they have posted pictures online of them with another potential romantic partner, or they have planted clues places and just tried to get their ex to think that they've moved on, and then they haven't heard from them. And usually it's been months, and they're basically wanting to know, what can I do now? So it really can blow up in your face, just like, as I mentioned, trying to make them jealous. It can blow up in your face because they could respond either way. It really just depends on how it strikes them. If they're an avoidant, if you just know enough about attachment styles that right there could tell you they're less likely to make an effort if they think you've moved on. But again, I'm basing this on examples I've seen, and it's very difficult to have anything concrete. It just seems to be random. And some of that's just based on what they're going through, what they think, how it strikes them, the information they have, what mood they're in that day. It can impact them in different ways, but they can actually settle on something about you if they get that information and think that you've moved on. And I'm going to tell you what I do think you should do. And also, I'm going to clarify some things in the points that follow. So stick with me in this video. So as I said, it can go either way. That means you probably don't want to take the chance because based on what I've seen, most of the time, it doesn't go the way that you want it. So if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm going to guess that 65 to 70% of the time, if you successfully convince them that you've moved on, it's going to mean that they stop their efforts, that if they do have some sort of reignited interest in getting together with you, being with you, reuniting the relationship, that will be extinguished because it's extremely discouraging. Imagine if you have broken up with someone and then you change your mind and you find out they've moved on. Doesn't mean that you're going to try harder. It's not something that's going to promote your actions. It's just going to make you sad that you made a terrible mistake, but you're going to feel like there's nothing you can do about it. And so that's what I've observed. And I have to be honest with you and tell you that. Number two, if you're considering trying to get your ex to think you've moved on, I want you to know that mystery has the best record. When your ex doesn't have any information about you, it's frustrating, and they will seek that information. And if they can't get it, then it leads them to you. Because when you are mysterious and there's no answers, you become the answer. But if the answer is, well, he's moved on, or well, she's moved on, then most people, it's going to impact them in a way that they say it's not worth trying because this person did not break up with him. This person did not ignore him when he begged and pleaded in pain, or her when she begged and pleaded in pain. And so they just assume that you want to be with that person and that it's over. And they're certainly not going to risk being rejected and humiliated by trying to get you back when they think that you've moved on and that you're with someone else, or that you've just moved on to where you don't want to be with them anymore and you're not hoping that they'll come back. So it's very important that mystery becomes your shining star in so many ways. That's one of the reasons I say don't contact them, don't talk to their friends, try to avoid the topic completely on social media. Don't bring up the breakup, don't bring up that you're seeking a new relationship. If you think that that's going to manipulate them, just don't talk about your relationship or your breakup to anyone, and that includes social media. You want the mystery. And trust me, you will be shocked at how many times people have told me that they've heard me say in videos, don't talk to your friends about it and don't talk to mutual friends about it, because a lot of the times they will think that they can help you and they will go to this person and they completely overestimate their ability to really make any impact. But they go to this person and they tell them how bad you're hurting and they think it's going to help. It actually makes it a lot worse. It lowers attraction. It also shows them that you're just a backup plan. Just in case they do want you back, they know that you are so miserable that you will take them back. And so you don't want that getting out there, but people will tell me that they thought I was exaggerating and that they could trust so-and-so. But that's the problem. If you can trust them and they're your friends and they care about you, they're even more likely to think they can help and that you asking them to stay out of it is just you being ignorant. But they're really going to be the hero and they're going to go talk to this person and tell them what you said and get them back and you'll just love them even more. But that almost never happens. 90% plus of the time when your friends get involved, it only screws you over. It hurts your chances. It makes your ex less attracted to you. And if anything, they just assume that you're in backup plan mode and they can go do whatever they want. And if they ever were to change their mind, they can get you back. And that's not what you want them thinking because that will prevent them from changing their mind. Before I get to point number 3, which is a strategy I do think that you should implement, get more information on my emergency breakup kit. It's in the description below, and it's a powerful guide to help you get your ex back. It goes over a lot of the things that maybe you haven't even thought of and what to do when they do start interacting with you and things like that. It's called the Emergency Breakup Kit. There's also other things in there that you can get that can be helpful to your situation and just help you get your ex back. It's at myexbackcoach.com. It's the Emergency Breakup Kit. Number 3, what you should do. Show them that you can move on. Not that you have, but that you can, because that starts the clock. And I'm going to show you how you can do that. But first I need to tell you why. It starts the clock with your ex because they start to realize you won't be there permanently, which means that they don't get to explore. And by explore, I mean that they won't feel like they have freedom to pursue someone else or to just go see what options they have out there or to move to this city or go do this. And that if that ever goes wrong, they don't have anything to worry about because they can just come back to you. That may sound kind of romantic, but it's very unattractive because it lowers your value that you are available no matter what they do to you and that you don't have any other prospects and you're not even going to try to move on with your life. It makes you less attractive a lot. And so you don't want them thinking that. And so the simple no contact rule that I talk about a lot, which is no contact with them at all, no initiating it, at least on your end. If they reach out to you, I don't suggest that you ignore them, but you don't initiate contact. That's what my no contact rule is. And just by doing that, it is a very big clue to your ex that you can move on, because if you can stay away from them and not have them in your life and not make an effort to try to communicate with them, it shows strength, and that means you're strong enough to move on. So that gives them the feeling and the understanding that the clock is ticking, that you are not going to wait around forever. And that puts pressure on them to really have to make a decision, but it also raises your value because they realize that you're strong and that you can move on. And they think back to when they first met you and how maybe they were really attracted to you right away, just by seeing you, just by talking to you, and that someone else can feel that way too. So it's a simple thought. It's a simple progression in their mind that they will go to. And if you haven't contacted them, then they assume that each day that you are interacting with people, you're living your life, and that means you're getting closer to moving on. So that's enough. You don't have to try to stir the pot or to blow more air in the balloon to try to create a huge explosion or something. You can just stay away and not initiate contact, and it's enough. Their mind will do the rest of it. Don't try to play the games of making them think you've moved on or posting pictures out on a date or something like that. If that's what you do, it should be real. It should mean that you have moved on, you are with someone else, or you're pursuing someone else and seeing what will happen, but that you are done with your ex. If you're not done with your ex, I don't suggest you do that. Is it fair? Especially if they have someone else? It's not fair because this is not really a game of what's fair and what's not. It's simply, do you want to have the best chance with them or to have any chance with them? And I'm going to talk about that more in point number 5. But we're going to get on 4 first because I want you to understand something. Number 4 is if they start reaching out to you, and I'm getting a little bit into what I talk about in the emergency breakup kit, like if they actually reach out and want to talk to you or see how you're doing, how you handle that. And this is one of the things that I bring up, and that is don't tell them that you've moved on. In other words, some people think that if their ex reaches out, that they should actually say, well, I've moved on, so I'm doing pretty good. And they think that the ex will just keep wanting to talk to them and that kind of thing. And sure, could that ever happen? It could. It certainly could. But again, I'm just basing this on my experiences and what I've seen. And after 20 something years, 23 at this point, I think that that gives you a lot of confidence in what I'm telling you just because I've observed these things. And it wasn't just me saying it'll probably go this way. And I know there are lots of people on YouTube who actually either just repeat what other people say, or they come up with something that sounds good and they just want to make a video. I promise you, I'm not doing that. I'm basing this on what I've seen. And what I can tell you from that is, if you tell them that you've moved on, they may continue to have a conversation with you that day, and you may think, okay, it's fine. They'll keep coming at me, and they'll think that because I've moved on that they have to try harder, or that they've lost me, and that might reattract them. But what usually happens is that they think about that statement because they hear it, it impacts them, and they think if you have moved on, that's really you telling them not to even try, that you're not interested in them anymore, that you just want to move on with your life. If that's the truth, great. That's wonderful. That's a powerful place to be in, and I wish you the best. But if you do want your ex back and you're trying to manipulate them by saying that, what I'm telling you is most of the time it's not going to work. So if you want the best odds of getting your ex back, you need to do what actually gives you a chance instead of hurts your chances. And so I'm telling you, don't use the words. Don't say to them, I've moved on. One guy even told me that he said to his ex-girlfriend when she reached out and she asked how he was doing. And he said, I'm doing pretty good. I've moved on, so I'm just focused on my life. And he thought that that would really help. He didn't hear from her again, and she told a mutual friend that once she heard he moved on, she put her profile back up on whatever dating app and that she was actively working to move on herself. So see, it was like, well, he's moved on, I might as well move on. That's the mindset they're probably going to have because they don't want the rejection of the humiliation by trying to chase you when you're not interested anymore. So I hope that makes sense. It does make sense to me, but even if it didn't make sense, I can just tell you this is what I've observed. And I just had a recent call who told me that. He was on a coaching session with me and he said, you were really right about how other people can think they're helping, but that they actually make it worse for you. And his ex had found out that he had said something similar to, I'm moving on, through this friend who he said he trusted and told them, promise me you won't say anything to her. And the friend promised. But then the friend thought, I can be the hero by getting them back together because I'm just such a genius when it comes to relationships. I'm going to go tell her that he's moved on. Don't talk to mutual friends especially, but be careful who you talk to. It might just be best to only speak to professionals like a coach on my staff. Number 5, here's what I suggest you do. I suggest that you choose your time frame. And what I mean by that is that you should not wait around forever. But you also, if you really care about this person and you're hurting, then it makes sense that you might say, you know, I'm going to give a certain amount of time where I'm not going to date, I'm going to let myself heal, but I'm going to wait. And yes, I know some people are terrified of waiting, and don't you wait around on anybody, but this is your choice. And you're just going to see if they get their act together, if they have a change of heart, if they miss you and realize this was a big mistake, because those relationships can still do really well when someone learns that they don't like being without you. And most of the time when people want to get out there and date too fast, I tell them, look, you need to emotionally heal from this, or else you can kind of mess yourself up when it comes to connections and commitment. If this hurts, you need to give yourself some time. And the other thing is you don't want to be on a date with somebody and say, well, I just got out of a serious relationship that's been a year or more or whatever, and here I am 2 weeks later on a date, because they're going to feel really weird and it's going to make you look bad, and you don't want to start with a lie and tell them something else. So for that reason, but also for you, that you just need to heal. And 2 or 3 months is not that long of a time period. Some people want to go longer than that. That's okay too. 5, 6 months where you just say, you know, at this point, I'm going to move on. I'm going to start dating, or I'm at least going to put my focus elsewhere when it comes to relationships because I have given this enough time. And you can decide what that amount of time is. But again, it's more for you because you want to be able to approach dating again with a clean slate in your head and better emotional health. And a lot of you right after a breakup are not in the emotional place that I would suggest that you date. So there does need to be a certain amount of time. Pick that amount of time. Maybe it's 3 months, and you say, once 3 months is up, I'm done. I'm going to stop this. I'm not going to wait any longer. Or if you weren't that happy with the relationship to begin with, You could say that maybe it's 2 months, but I do suggest you try to wait at least 2 months before you start dating again. And remember to get the emergency breakup kit. It's a big help to getting your ex back beyond just no contact, but also in terms of your mindset and what to do when your ex actually starts interacting with you, and how you can actually keep attracting them and not push them away or make things awkward or get into kind of this limbo where you don't really know what the status is anymore, which is really, really frustrating. So the emergency breakup kit, linked to in the description below. You can go to myexbackcoach.com. You can also book a coaching session with me or a coach on my staff there, or you can join my support community. Just all kinds of things at myexbackcoach.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. You can ask questions in the comments, maybe share your experience as well, and maybe give a positive word to somebody who's hurting. This has been Coach Lee, and as always, thank you for watching.